Whenever someone thinks of a classic live-action animation hybrid, Who Framed Roger Rabbit pops into their heads. Based on the novel Who Censored Roger Rabbit, this movie was innovative and technically advanced. In addition to paying tribute to the film noir genre, animation direction was provided by the late Richard Williams. This film provided countless cameo appearances, with Disney and Warner Brothers characters sharing the same screen, but there were also characters who played a vital role in this mystery. We're here to solve the mystery of which character is most good and which character is most evil, regardless of whether they're humans or toons. Yo, I'm Brad with Wicked Binge, and this is Who Framed Roger Rabbit characters, good to evil. We need to address a very important rule before we investigate this case. We're only discussing the original and main characters. While it is noteworthy to see these timeless and beloved cartoon characters throughout the film, keep in mind that they're still cameos. Whether it was Donald and Daffy Duck performing a piano duel, or Mickey Mouse giving Eddie Valiant a spare tire instead of a parachute, those are always memorable. While Toontown plays an important role in the story, not the toons themselves. For those who are new to Roger Rabbit, we highly advise you to watch the movie first before watching this list. It will contain spoilers, so watch at your own risk. Now that's out of the way, let's get started. As always, we'll be starting with the most pure and noble characters and working our way down. These characters are the good. The gold medal of good goes to Roger Rabbit. He's a cartoon rabbit inspired by numerous iconic characters of the Golden Age, who has worked and starred in numerous animated comedies, along with his co-star Baby Herman. As portrayed on camera, Roger's always trying to keep Baby Herman safe while getting hurt in the process. Outside of work, Roger's an optimistic and innocent soul who enjoys making people laugh, especially with his wife Jessica. He even entertained the patrons by singing and dancing at the trolley terminal bar, despite in hiding. He can be hyperactive, talkative, stutter, screw up his lines, and would get on anyone's nerves, but he doesn't mean any harm. Roger turns to Eddie Valiant after being framed for murder, since he believes that Eddie is the only one who can protect him, in spite of his prejudice against toons.
And you're also the guy that helped all these toons.
He's also sensitive when he discovers Jessica has been cheating on him, and was cowardly when Judge Doom and the Toon Patrol search for him. Plus, it's best to never give him alcohol. Thankfully, Roger grew in bravery and attempted to save Eddie and Jessica by pointing a gun at Judge Doom without fear. Although Roger failed, his heart was in the right place. In fact, the more we learn about Roger, the more we understand why he earns the top spot on our list. Our silver medal goes to Eddie Valiant. In the beginning, Eddie and his brother Teddy were well known for solving toon cases under the name Valiant and Valiant. For example, Donald Duck's nephews were kidnapped and Goofy's espionage accusations were dropped. Those cases alone should be worth discussing one day.
Didn't you used to be Eddie Valiant?
He was also athletic from his days as a clown at the Barnum and Bailey Circus, which became useful in the climax. Furthermore, Eddie has a respect for certain cartoon characters, including Betty Boop, whose career slipped after cartoons switched from black and white to color. However, after Teddy was killed by a toon, Eddie ceased to do cases, became an alcoholic, and developed a hatred for most toons, with a few exceptions.
Toons.
Even if he was irritated or ridiculed by the police, he would get angry. Eddie's ranking would be lowered. However, Roger Rabbit's personality is a major reason for Eddie's high standing. When Roger enters the picture, Eddie stays devoted to his job as he tries to crack the mystery and steadily rekindles his passion for toons. One of his most developed moments was when he quit drinking and used his wits to trick the weasels into die laughing at the Acme warehouse. Bob Hoskins may be gone, but his character will always be remembered as a hard-boiled detective with a silver heart. Taking bronze is one of history's most sexy cartoon characters, Jessica Rabbit. As mentioned before, she is Roger Rabbit's human wife. Many people are baffled and confused by their relationship. Jessica's answer is simple: Roger makes her laugh.
He makes me laugh.
In fact, she calls him better than Goofy. Fair enough. Jessica performs in the Ink and Paint Club in her spare time as an actress and singer. Aside from her physical beauty and an unmentionable short moment in the VHS release, Jessica has also become known for her mysterious personality and the alleged affair she had with Marvin Acme. Once the mystery is unraveled, however, she still earns the bronze medal for maintaining her selflessness and compassion. In spite of her calm and collected appearance, Jessica is full of surprises. Jessica saved Eddie from being shot by Judge Doom in the alleyway in Toontown by defending herself from danger. Often her humor is subtle, like when one of the weasel's hands catches in a bear trap. You know what we're talking about. Jessica even lost her cool when she discovered Judge Doom's dip machine. Even so, Jessica Rabbit left her mark on cartoon history in a similar way to Betty Boop. Jessica herself said it best, "I'm not bad, I'm just drawn that way." Next is the owner of Acme Corporation, Marvin Acme. If you're familiar with the Roadrunner, Wile E cartoons, you may recognize the Acme products Wile E uses to catch the Roadrunner. He probably has to thank Marvin for them. Marvin Acme is a lighthearted yet eccentric businessman who loves to joke around, but also has a creative eye for his gags and props. The items on his line include disappearing and reappearing ink, portable holes, the singing sword, and the punching glove mallet. Additionally, he founded Toontown and cares for the welfare of the Toons. In fact, he seems to have a close relationship with Jessica Rabbit, which later turned out to be a setup.
You were set up to take those pictures.
Marvin has been placed lower on the list because he's the victim of the murder mystery. Roger was framed for killing Marvin when a safe fell on his head. There was a deleted scene involving his funeral with characters that didn't make it into the final cut, which includes Casper the Friendly Ghost accidentally scaring everyone away. In addition, Marvin's will to Toontown was missing, and without it, Judge Doom will turn the town into a freeway. While he's dead, Marvin's spirit lives on in the products used by Eddie to trick the weasels and kill Judge Doom. As long as the will is safe, Marvin will be remembered as someone who was kind to the Toons. You'll be happy to see her because we present Dolores. Dolores is Eddie's girlfriend and a waitress at the Trolley Terminal Bar. Beforehand, Eddie had a good relationship with Dolores during his prime. However, things went sour between them once Eddie started drinking after Teddy's death. Without enough money to repay her loan before her boss finds out, she risked losing her job.
I'm gonna lose my job.
She can be snarky and has a sense of dry humor like Eddie. When she catches Jessica Rabbit visiting Eddie's office and blowing a kiss at him after she leaves, she gets jealous. Despite Dolores' behavior, she keeps her place because she still cares for Eddie and attempts to clear Roger's name. While Roger was being hunted by the Toon Patrol, Dolores agreed to hide him in the bar. But once he was caught, it didn't last long. Her most noble act was tricking Judge Doom into forcing Roger to drink alcohol, which gave him and Eddie the chance to escape afterwards. It not only reawakens his respect for Toons, but also his love for Dolores. Dolores is a smart aleck, but she already has Eddie as a good man, which makes her a supportive girlfriend on the good tier. Next is Lieutenant Santino. Santino is an LAPD lieutenant and Eddie's superior officer. It's also the same actor who portrayed the Imperial officer that gets choked by Darth Vader in A New Hope. Lieutenant Santino doesn't appear much in the movie, but he is the same person who assigned Eddie the case concerning Marvin Acme's murder, and who introduced him to Judge Doom and his weapon, the dip. He has a stern demeanor and scolds Eddie for doing things that were not within his jurisdiction as a detective. Additionally, Santino appears to know the background of Doom in regards to bringing an election to Toontown.
Spread a bunch of simoleons around Toontown a couple years back.
Santino is ranked lower because he lacks hindsight, believes Roger to be the prime suspect, and does not question how Doom easily won the election. He's still a decent man who cares about Eddie, and could have turned to him if Eddie needed money. Judge Doom showed off his dip by killing an innocent Toon shoe, but Santino couldn't bear to see an innocent Toon punished in such a cruel manner. Even so, Santino was impressed by Eddie's valiant conclusion to the crime. No pun intended. Lieutenant Santino is only doing his job, and his policing duties keep him away from the gray area. Our last contender on the good list goes to Benny the Cab. Benny is a Toon taxicab that the Toon Patrol captured after he went a few miles, according to him.
I can't believe they locked me up for driving on a sidewalk.
When Eddie and Roger rescued Benny during their escape, they helped him get through a chase scene until they finally hid in a movie theater. In contrast to other taxi drivers, Benny drives chaotically and ignores traffic laws. He's a boisterous and outspoken individual who doesn't take kindly to slow drivers. Benny can be impatient if people fight over who gets to drive him, or if he's not sure where to drop off his passengers because his meter's running. Although his behavior is brash, Benny is still a loyal helping hand and has unique abilities. He has a lever that can lift him off the road to avoid colliding with other cars. Plus, he can drive other cars so well. That's not something you see every day, a car driving a car. Also, we credit him for being the only Toon who survived Judge Doom's dip. Though Benny escaped the gray area by a hair, we can't deny that his driving and loyalty could turn out to be a surprise. That's all for the good characters. Now it's time to descend into the neutral territory. This is the gray area. Topping off the gray area is the recurring barfly, Angelo. Angelo is a minor character who leaves a lasting impression during the movie. He's a nasty, wisecracking jerk that loves to poke fun at Eddie and his detective work. An insult about finding Little Bo Peep's sheep reached Eddie's boiling point, and he promptly stuffed Angelo's mouth with a hard-boiled egg. Angelo was shocked when he and the others learned the Toon killed Teddy. When Roger later hid at the bar, Angelo and the others were very happy to have him around. He got his opportunity when Judge Doom began searching for Roger and offered a large reward. Angelo looked tempted and was on the verge of spilling the beans. In reality, he fooled Doom into thinking the rabbit was imaginary and called him Harvey, showing that he would never betray Roger Rabbit.
Say hello.
It was also a nod to the James Stewart movie, Harvey. While Angelo is the kind of guy who would rat on you for a nickel, he stays afloat in the neutral area for having moral standards. Jokes aside, Angelo's not that bad of a guy once you get to know him. In the middle of the gray area, we have Roger's co-star, Baby Herman. This cartoon of an infant appears alongside Roger Rabbit in a number of Maroon cartoons. He appears to be a cute and innocent baby on camera who wanders off and unknowingly gets Roger into trouble. This is like a parody of Tom and Jerry cartoons where both characters try to save a mischievous baby.
I'll save you, baby!
Once the camera stops rolling, Baby Herman is really an old man with a mob mentality, smoking a cigar and speaking deep. Whenever Roger messes up filming, Baby Herman can be rude and impatient.
Crying out loud, Roger!
As well as constantly hitting on women. He would even treat his handler poorly. Baby Herman still acts like a baby whenever he naps in his trailer or cries when a cigar falls on the ground. Jeez, buddy, grow up! Although Herman acts like a spoiled brat, he remains neutral because he cares about Roger and regards him as a good friend. Also, he is the first Toon to tell Eddie about Roger's frame-up for murdering Marvin Acme and the will for Toontown. Regardless, Baby Herman is a bad baby, but not bad enough for the bad category. Ending our gray area is the owner of Maroon Cartoons, R.K. Maroon. Maroon is an executive at a studio that produces cartoons daily, where Roger Rabbit and Baby Herman are his most popular characters. Additionally, he has established connections with animated studios and employs many of their characters. Maroon rented Dumbo and half the cast of Disney, where they would work for peanuts, especially Dumbo.
Best part is, they work for peanuts.
As Roger was losing focus on his acting, Maroon suspected Jessica of cheating. Thus, Addie was hired by Maroon to take pictures of her and Marvin Acme playing patty cake, literally, which devastated Roger. Later, it turns out that it was a setup by Maroon where he posed Jessica for the pictures to blackmail Marvin Acme into selling his properties to Maroon's new business partner, Cloverleaf Industries. This scandalous act would have made R.K. Maroon a candidate in the bad or evil category. He remains at the bottom of the gray area, realizing that Judge Doom is part of Cloverfield Industries and that Toontown will be destroyed if the will is not found. Eddie confronted and forced an anxious Maroon to confess his involvement and reveal he still cares about Toons and doesn't want them killed. Maroon was tragically killed by Judge Doom just before he revealed his plan. We can forgive R.K. Maroon for making a life-risking mistake. As Bugs Bunny would say, his arranged scandal turned him into a total Maroon. In other words, he's a cartoon maker, not a murderer. That wraps up the gray area. We're now entering the bad territory, where two contenders on this list committed the most dangerous and evil crimes. Our runner-up goes to the villainous weasel gang, the Toon Patrol. These Toon Weasels are Judge Doom's henchmen. It's ironic that they act more like gangsters and crooks than law enforcement. They disturb the peace instead of protecting it. When they do the job, they also have their paddy wagons and guns at the ready. Whatever trouble they cause, these weasels won't rest until Roger is killed. Their leader, Smartass, heads the gang, which includes Greasy, Psycho, Stupid, and Wheezy. Smartass is considered to be the most serious and sarcastic of all the weasels. For the rest of them, they laugh uncontrollably. Smartass constantly warns them to stop, or else they'll die from laughter someday. Eddie uses his acrobatics and wit from his glory days to trick the weasels into literally laughing themselves to death during the climax. Smartass even died a graphic death by kicking into a vat of dip. The only thing keeping the Toon Patrol from being the most evil is their lack of motivation. While these were clearly minions, it was unclear whether they were doing it for money or maliciously. Moreover, it was never established whether they knew Doom was a Toon or not. The Toon Patrol is still dangerous, regardless of why they rank second on this list.
Don't worry, Judge.
You all knew this was coming. Judge Doom is the most evil character. In case you weren't intimidated by Christopher Lloyd, never blinking during filming, you haven't met Judge Doom. Initially, we encounter Doom as a reserved yet no-nonsense man who brutally executes those who stand in his way. He even created a Toon-killing weapon, the Dip, a mixture of turpentine, acetone, and benzene. The heartless murder of an innocent Toon Shu shows his complete lack of remorse. Have we forgotten to mention that he also abuses his own henchmen? Doom created Cloverleaf Industries so he could trick RK Maroon into buying Marvin Acme's properties, including Toontown. His plan is to destroy Toontown with his dip and use it as a freeway so he can profit from it.
Toontown will be erased in a matter of minutes.
He can also be very cunning, as he lures Roger Rabbit with a shave and haircut trick, or by smelling his presence. In the third act, Eddie glues Judge Doom and flattens him with a steamroller. In a shocking revelation, Judge Doom turns out to be a Toon. This was not just any Toon, but the same Toon that killed Teddy years ago. With red eyes and a high, squeaky voice, Judge Doom is a sarcastic psychopath who enjoys torturing his victims and killing them slowly in an agonizing manner. He's more dangerous because he can create deadly weapons with his hands, such as anvils and buzzsaws. Eddie gives Doom a taste of his own medicine, and he melts away from the dip. Those who saw this movie will remember how sinister and terrifying the villain Judge Doom was. Judge Doom's clever plan, serious demeanor, and psychotic secret make him the most evil character in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And that's the list. What do you think? Do you agree? And did we miss any other Roger Rabbit characters? Let us know in the comments if you agree with our ranking. And tell us which series you'd like to see next. Be sure to hit that notification bell so you don't miss new episodes of Good to Evil featuring your favorite cartoons and video games. But most importantly, stay wicked.